This is Autoline Daily, the show dedicated to enthusiasts of the global automotive industry. Seems like the Trump administration is systematically taking apart environmental regulations that have been in place for years, and environmentalists are pulling their hair out. Yesterday, the Environmental Protection Agency proposed to eliminate the government's ability to regulate greenhouse gases as air pollutants. Back in 2009, the EPA ruled that greenhouse gases are a danger to public health and welfare. That finding is the basis for regulating CO2, methane, and other greenhouse gases. But the EPA now wants to walk back that ruling, which would likely undo a host of emission regulations. While the proposal could be finalized by the end of the year, environmentalists have already said that they will fight it in court. The Environmental Defense Fund, citing data from the U.S. Energy Information Agency, says that the lower CO2 standard will raise demand for gasoline, which in turn will push prices up by 18 cents a gallon by 2034 and 75 cents by 2050. More automakers are reporting their second quarter results, and it's doom and gloom all across the world with one exception. Nissan posted a $780 million loss. Mercedes-Benz saw net profits plunge 69%, and Porsche's net profit fell 66%. They all blame U.S. tariffs for their drop in earnings, while Renault, which is not at all affected by the tariffs, lowered its guidance for the rest of the year, blaming a weak retail environment in Europe and a big drop in sales of commercial vehicles. But then there's Toyota, the exception. It reported record global sales for the first half of the year, selling 5.5 million vehicles, up more than 7%. However, Toyota imports about 657,000 vehicles to the U.S., about 28% of its total U.S. sales. So, it's hard to see how it can maintain that rate with the tariffs driving up prices. And what does Ford see coming for the future? It just took out a line of credit with JP Morgan Chase for $3 billion. And remember, this is a company that finished the first quarter with $20 billion in cash on hand and another $14 billion in liquid securities. And yet, it wanted to have access to another $3 billion? Of course, the best time to get a bank to approve a line of credit is when you don't need it. But this probably means that Ford sees a flashing yellow icon on its dashboard and wants to be ready in case things start to go upside down. Aston Martin is set to sell off part of its stake in its F1 team, and it shows just how much the value of F1 teams has skyrocketed over the last few years. Aston F1 is now valued at $3.2 billion. The automaker is selling its minority stake for about $147 million, but won't say who the buyer is since the deal isn't officially completed yet. Last year, the team was valued at $2.4 billion, so the $3.2 billion valuation is a huge step up, and that's up from $1.3 billion in 2023. And here's the craziest part. Aston's F1 team is worth more than Aston Martin, the car company. Aston F1 has a market cap 3 times bigger than Aston Martin, which is valued at just over $1 billion. And speaking of F1, Audi has named British financial technology company Revolut as its title sponsor. Audi is joining the racing series next year and is taking over for the Sauber team. And in other Audi news, the automaker is planning to launch a new EV that will be, quote, something in between the TT and the R8. Audi's CEO confirmed that it will reveal the model at the Munich Auto Show in September, and while it will initially debut as a concept, a production version will launch in 2 years. Audi isn't sharing any details yet, but it's expected to have better performance than the outgoing TT.
Developing today's vehicles. Issues can happen in an instant. When's the best time to solve a problem? The minute you know you have one. Meet Wireless NeoVi Cloud, your secure, off-the-shelf solution empowering real-time collaboration for quick resolution. With Wireless NeoVi Cloud, Your team can prevent issues before they can escalate. Driver communication data and remote diagnostics to analyze and resolve your problems using OTA, allowing your executives oversight throughout the process. Wireless Neovi Cloud, your vehicle update solution in production and on the road. Intrepid Control Systems, driven by your data.
Chevy is giving us a slightly clearer picture of what the new Bolt is going to look like. It showed several close-ups of the model on its Instagram page, which not surprisingly looks like it should fit right in with Chevy's other EVs. But we think it's most closely related to the electric Blazer. The brand also showed off the Bolt's standard NACS charging port and a new set of wheels, which have spokes that kind of fan out. Stay tuned. Chevy says it will reveal more this fall. Tesla signed another big deal in the U.S. The other day, it secured a $16.5 billion partnership with Samsung to make semiconductor chips in Texas. And now it's working out a $4.3 billion battery deal with LG to build LFP cells in Michigan, which will be used in Tesla's energy storage devices. The company currently gets LFP batteries from China, but LG says higher tariffs on Chinese goods have made it harder for American companies to import from the country. Speaking of Tesla, the Model S and X are being dropped from Europe. While the company stopped making right-hand drive versions in 2023, it just removed the ability to order a new build model. Customers can still get a new S or X from the existing inventory, but once that inventory is gone, they're done for Europe. Tesla did the same thing in China earlier this year, so that just leaves the North American market for the S and X. The company doesn't break out sales of the models on their own. They're listed in an other models category, which also includes the Cybertruck and Semi. In the first half of the year, Tesla has delivered roughly 23,300 of its other models. In somewhat similar news, Mercedes is no longer taking orders for its EVs in the U.S. It says it's due to, quote, current market conditions, and while it's supposed to be temporary, Mercedes did not reveal when it will open orders back up. Automotive News estimates that shipments of the EQS and EQE SUVs have declined over 30% this year, and as we reported the other day, the company cut prices by as much as $15,000 in the U.S. But in some cases, it's still taking dealers an average of over 110 days to sell the EV models. Plus, residual values are falling off a cliff too. Used EQS sedans that originally cost $100,000 plus can be found online for around $30,000. So the order stoppage should not be too surprising. The supplier Bosch has developed two new system-on-a-chips that combine the most important components for radar systems into one chip. The chips support Level 2+ technologies, including automatic emergency braking, adaptive cruise control, blind spot detection, and lane keeping assist. Bosch says the chips feature new technology that improves object recognition and increases range around 30% compared to conventional chips and at a lower cost. The chips are available to customers now for development and testing purposes. But that's a wrap for today's show. Thanks for making Autoline a part of your day.
Autoline Daily is brought to you by Intrepid Control Systems. Over-the-air engineering boost your game. And by